House. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. All right. Yeah, like it's used to. I'm already like a little bit. Winterize. But I saw they don't. Remember, but now. I'm not saying, but I got. No. So the next three, people are going.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Morning. You on there is your GIS map and.
Yeah.
And you did not. All right.
And then.
Give away our.
Yeah.
On our system. Yeah.
We're not doing it anymore.
Well, we're not doing the round until Arlington wins. That way, like, because they want their. Which stack is you? We need to know. Sure, and then on the way there.
It's gonna be the January next week.
That way. They keep
like this cigar.
And then trying to execute them and get it or something, you know, like I've never used a router. I'm about 30, 40 years, use a router.
You know, creators,
You ran.
I can rather lose a figure.
Well. People saw got
All right. This is the first time I can remember where we haven't had anybody on Zoom, so I minimized. Well, that's cool. We've got a good crowd here. Okay, Brett, you're our sergeant.
Oh, I'm sorry, I have to write this. Yeah, well, let's do the pledge of allegiance.
Okay.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And I haven't done the four-way test before, so let's do it. Four-way test, first, is it true? Second, is it false? Third.
Will it?
Fourth.
Well,
And fifth. Is it five?
Bacon.
68.
Good time.
Sorry, I'm tardy.
We're really in need of inspiration.
Okay, give me just a second.
Actually, we can welcome visitors.
Yeah, no. Then who are you looking around for? This is my wife, Cassie. Cassie's gonna come in and check it out.
All right. I'm looking around for, okay, we've got one other little visitor there.
You may answer you back in a little while.
Yeah.
I have it, hang on, sorry.
I'm gonna start this going around. This is just a little announcement. An event is coming up.
Ah, okay. Are you ready?
We're ready.
This is by Winston Churchill. Success is walking from failure to failure with no loss of enthusiasm.
Okay.
You guys all look so enthused this morning.
Well, I guess that's good, but maybe a little reality mixed in with that would be good with the enthusiasm.
Well, is there bad? I don't know.
I know, a little reality mixed in with the enthusiasm. All right, so we do have a birthday. Kevin's. Yep, I was hoping he was gonna walk through the door, but. All right, so Kevin O'Brien, and then anniversaries, Steve Carmody. So, go.
Anniversary.
Anniversary.
You're looking for blood. Well, that.
Okay, announcement time. We do have a fund a cause. But I guess we need to also agree on what the right term is, because fund a need also comes up. What do we call it here? Fund a cause or fund a need?
We always did fund the cause.
Okay. So bridge receiving is going to be the fund a cause. And for those of you who haven't heard, they have a project already lined up, and it involves getting a container, probably a used shipping container, and having it delivered to their property. Apparently, they already have one and it's full, but set up a second one, and then hopefully outfitting it with shelves and those big plastic bins and that type of thing. And they've got an interesting specific need. They get a lot of donations for clothing and toys and that type of thing. And the clothing is an interesting dilemma, because they need all sizes of clothing for both boys and girls. And they've already filled up one container full of this stuff, and then they still have to turn away donations, and they still don't have a full complement of sizes. So every once in a while, they'll have somebody walk through the door.
Who's they?
Bridge receiving. I'm sorry, did I not say that? Yeah.
Think, but I didn't.
Okay. And
I am laser focused.
and also,
There's your problem. You're laser focused.
and also just FYI, bridge receiving receives displaced children through basically DSHS, basically potential foster children. And that's the whole story. We've had them here in the past, but it's a great organization. So anyhow, that's the funded cost. So we're pretty excited about that. We also had another great option from Chris. Let's see.
It's in the back. In the back. So
Oh, there it is. Yeah. And so it was a very tough decision to make. And, you know, we stewed on it for a couple of days, actually, but and Chris presented one of his program at the meeting last week. So anyhow, we're excited.
Do they need another container?
Yep, so they need a container. And how it becomes a Rotary project is that we will, as a club, install all the shelving, everything. So we have to source the container, have it shipped there. And I've been in contact with Tracy. The two people that she needs to get in contact with are out, but she's gonna try and get more research for us before our event.
What size do you need?
That is a good question, and they're working on that. They have one already on property that is full. So they can't take anything. They got 3,000 pairs of socks from Bombas. And they're like, which is awesome,
Yeah.
but, right? So they're like, they can't take anything right now because they have no place to put it. So, and it's really kind of ironic because when I called to talk to her, she's like, I was just worried about how we were going to raise the funds to get this other storage here. So the timing was like perfection.
Let me ask, Lisa LaFever runs the Port of Everett
Okay,
container.
well, I mean,
I'll give Lisa.
that would be fantastic. And then they have to make arrangements because we'll have it shipped to the location, to their campus. And then they have to make arrangements for the kids to be off campus so that we can go in and install the shelves and the Tupperware buckets and all that. They have a certain layout that they have. But it will definitely then apply for matching funds for grants because it will be a quote unquote project.
Mhm.
But, and Chris, I think I think your cause is great too. But in this case, I feel like the need was dire. She was like, I can't tell you. We were just thinking about how we were gonna get the money because we don't have it in our budget. So yay for Rotary for the timing piece. And so she's in the process of gathering information. She will be there on the 11th to speak. But yeah, so go team.
Yeah. Okay, just a reminder, in case anybody's got basket material in their back of their car that they forgot to bring in, this is the basket prep day after the meeting. Oh, I got a message from Beth Harrington. She's the one that has been managing this YES program. And so I'll just read it to you and share it with you. Bev says, we are excited to report that 8 students and their parents attended the Youth Exchange in Service General Orientation kicking off 2024. And that's all part of the Snohomish County YES team. Now, after a year of learning about Rotary, expanding their leadership skills, and volunteering at least 80 hours in our community, these students will travel to Guatemala in June to provide the wood burning stoves, the water filters, and the fruit trees that we talked about last week for the villagers. The application are from Emmett Bell, who is a junior at Everett High School, is attached. I'm not going to bother with that. He will be learning all about Lake Stevens Rotary by reviewing our website, as well as attending our meetings several times during the year to share his experience. So it sounds like we'll have a guest, a few times this coming year. And I think that's kind of cool because we're basically helping fund sending him there to participate in this with several other students. And she goes on to say that all this was made possible by your commitment to sponsor a student and provide matching funds for a district grant. Thank you for providing the $1,000 sponsorship. So that was nice. All right, let's do reports. starting with treasurer.
Cash flows improving, there's still, 10 people allocated to, for the last period. Yes, it's a contact file, I'll try to do that. From email. And then, Eileen,
Yes, sir.
the thing of do you want me to mail that to them, give it to you?
Either way. If you want to just give it to me, I can deliver it today.
Okay, I'll read it.
Okay, thank
All
you.
right.
Exactly, exactly.
All right, Gary,
Okay, when's the next meeting of the board of directors?
Oh,
it's the first Tuesday.
It's like the,
And what date is that first Tuesday?
I don't know.
it's like the snow.
It's like next Tuesday, isn't it?
Seven.
Election night.
Yep,
Yeah.
it's election night.
Oh,
So we may have some people that are going to win that, nobody could come up with a candidate. And so they're gonna win. So you're gonna have the mayor's gonna have a big celebration.
Oh, I'm having a big one.
Yeah,
A little about 8. That's already
and we have at least one other candidate who I'm not gonna mention because of the job that he paid out. We'll see how that goes. Just reminders that, foundation dinner, November 18th at the Bellingham Golf and Country Club, cost is $80. Free pets, December 2nd, Silver Reef Casino Resort. Ron?
Yep.
Your meeting is in the casino. Don't go out onto the casino floor.
Already registered.
I'm gonna give you an update on the chamber. They're gonna have a membership blitz on Monday, November 13th. This is somewhat critical with the chamber. We're down to 120 members, and to sustain everything, we really need an increase in membership, substantial increase. So if anybody's interested in joining us, the meeting will be at the Vic at 8:30. Paired in teams go out and visit with either former chamber members that might be delinquent, to see if there's something that we can do for them, or new companies that have come to town and nobody has approached them about the chamber. So it's gonna be a big deal. Doug and Lance are kind of running the show that day, and
So we've been told.
so it's pretty critical to get some new members and bring some of the old members back as well. So, the pandemic caused a lot of issues. And, housing, hopefully, if you read the newspaper this morning, they have to lay off people. So it's a critical time right now for all organizations, and the chamber is one of them. I think that's the end of my report. That's not probably. Did you agree with my report? It's not bad. Jeez.
I saw a nod of approval.
Yeah, okay, good.
Okay, Ron.
Like Gary mentioned, pets, I'm registered for pets, December 2nd, so I'll stay out at the casino floor, I promise. I'm also gonna attend another auction coming up the week before ours, it's Monroe Rotary. So I'll check that out and get my barn dance on and do that, see how they run their event. What else? One of the things for my presidential campaign is they recommend I start working on getting my board established, so I might be reaching out to some of you here soon, so.
Yeah, I recognize that too.
Yeah.
When I did pets, and I think it was in February when I went through it, and we were already two months behind
Yeah.
on a lot of this stuff, and first time I heard about it. So yeah, let's make that a priority to work through that. Okay, Eileen.
Our auction is literally 2 weeks away. I sent out an update for everybody, an email. I hope everybody got that. Thank you, Amy and Ron, for buying tickets. I appreciate that very much. we got the invoice for the cleanups, we got that taken care of. We still need items. We're really shy in the live auction department, so I don't know where we're at with that. So I know we're gonna consign a trip to Tuscany through an agency. And Paul's familiar with that agency, and then, so it's no risk or cost to us, which is good. And I know we have Creator Zone, and we have, your property. I need to get with Rochelle. Is Rochelle home?
No.
I need to get with her for the update on the fishing trip, because I haven't had time to research that, so I need her to do that. So
I'll give that tasting party we talked about, I mean, I just have to write in that.
wonderful, and I think there's a progressive dinner, right? And then are we gonna do like, oh, and then Christine donated, instead of donating a wheelbarrow, she donated this beautiful like fire pit where the beer's gonna go.
That's a good idea.
I know, she was like, will this work? I'm like, hello, so I was like, done, so thank you very much. So I,
Beer down in the office, but.
What's that?
That's not the office. Not thinking that. I want to bring 2 more.
Christine, you're the pizza ovens, you can donate to.
Right here, Jim Steinruck is donating his Hood Canal
Nice.
and,
Oh,
to,
good.
wine tasting for 8. I don't know, I have to look at
I
it.
think I still have his picture somewhere on my
Nice.
computer. No promises, but I don't know, like, I'm one of those.
I do too.
I don't think I'm one of those people that throw anything away.
I will tell you, because I just responded last night to his email, and I'll just let him know, hey, we still have.
Yeah, I'll check today and then let you know for sure.
I think I need that picture, so
Okay, okay, hallelujah, thank you. So really, it's just, we're down in ticket sales. So I think we only have, with the 4 tickets that were just sold, maybe 90 seats. And we have committed 140. And of those 90 seats, some of those are for sponsors. And I don't know, not really anybody has gotten back to me about filling their sponsorship seats. So if you are a sponsor, and you want to fill those seats, could you give me the names of the people that will be attending in your place? Just so I can enter them in, because it just makes things so much
Remind us
easier.
what the sponsor levels they get tickets are.
You were gonna ask me that. 500 is 2 seats, 1,000 is 4 seats. 2,500 is 6 seats, and 5,000 is 8. And, Mr. Howe has the 5,000, he has 8, I know he was working.
And I'm working on paper. Trying to get through.
That's great, just if you could just show me the names, it just makes, I mean, if you can't, that's fine, it just makes it easier for people who are checking in to know that those people are associated with that sponsor.
Are you looking at the names and
I just need names, and then when they check in, they can give their credit card, that's all I need, but that way, in Greater Giving, if I enter those names under those sponsorships, then they're already affiliated, and then it makes it easier for those who are checking in who don't know the club. Steve and I are connecting today for the volunteers. We have a call with the volunteers on Monday. Thank you so much for making that happen. And then I did reach out to Kathleen, who was here last week. Her and her husband will be volunteering as well. So we're definitely gonna need to send people over there to the Arlington events. But I was very happy she was quick to respond. So I'm very happy about that. And she knows Greater Giving too. So now it's just a matter of program, timeline, and what Tracy will be speaking. So we just need to figure that out. So I don't know who's gonna be in charge of it.
like you're.
Well, I'll be in charge of it, but I have a friend that's going to help put some of this together.
That is great. However it comes together, that's.
All right.
But I have 3 cases of wine in my office at Sherway that I need to go and find out what it actually is, because they were going to say, oh, well, we'll let you know when we send it, and then it just showed up, so I never looked at it.
Who is that from?
Seto San Michelle,
Oh, okay.
so I don't know if it's red or white, so I have to look at it. And then, I did get confirmation from Scott that he has three cases of wine. And I don't know if that's for consumption or if that's for auctioning or both. He hasn't, I emailed him and I haven't heard back.
He said he was putting together a baskets.
Okay.
3 or 4 baskets.
Okay.
Oh, Scott said that?
That's what he told me.
Because he just called me and was looking for a place to store the cases. So I
Yeah,
didn't-
so that's why I asked him, I said, well, is this auction or is this for, because when I told
Do
him,
we have to make it, it doesn't matter, can we?
well, it does if you're gonna, if you're gonna do it in the silent and you need to do bid sheets, it matters.
Yeah,
You know, if you're just gonna consume it,
yeah,
no.
okay, but we can
No.
choose either.
Yes, but
since it's-
the week before the event, we want to get the bid sheets printed.
Oh, no, I understand.
Okay, all right, I'm just saying.
I just want to make sure we have the option. to
I'm
use it.
really trying to avoid last minute so that it leaves us room
Yeah.
for actual last minute stuff.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? And then Steve was gracious enough to donate a case of, your rosé, right? And red,
Yeah, that's why.
red, white rosé. So thank you so much. Oh, and a really cool basket. Really cool. So thank you. So that's kind of where we're at. So really, we just need butts and seats. We need people to buy tickets and come.
Sort of beer, like Connor, he was.
I have not done anything with beer. I do not know. I think you had made an outreach. I think Lance said he was gonna make an outreach, but I don't have those contacts, so I did not reach out.
Connor had a couple, and he was kind of figuring years out of it, so I don't know if that's.
If somebody could reach out to Connor, because I did not know and I don't.
We want to ask him how much booze he has.
Just
Yeah.
the beer and the setup, he was gonna get,
Some was in it.
Oh, and that reminds me, do we have like,
Jockey boxes.
cups
And it's.
to serve the alcohol?
I just want to make sure that if I can reach out.
Are you doing it now, by chance? I see you, are you texting Connor
I
now?
will come, I will do it. when I get that.
Okay, so you'll contact.
So
Okay,
I
good.
know, yeah, I didn't, because I wasn't here last year, so I don't know. I don't know.
We've
if
rented them along with the tables that we rented in the past. And we just.
Do you know who that person is? Can you reach out and see?
Yeah, that Jim Steinbrück did that, but it was the Everett.
Oh, it was Hagen that originally started it, and
Yeah.
it's the one out on Evergreen Way.
Oh, Reynolds?
Yeah,
I've picked up the last several years.
yeah, you have.
What do we need?
Beer and wine glasses.
Glass.
So, we're aiming for 140, but. How many do we need? 140 each?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, I wouldn't.
That's a good question. Well, you'll probably need, not everybody uses the same glass. You have to allow for that, so.
If we could do 140 of each, that's gonna cover, everybody can have a glass of wine and a glass of.
Yeah.
140 each?
Yeah, or slightly less than that even.
We have record that we did last previous years.
Steinberg, or, Hagen probably does.
I've got the contact and the pasture seats, I believe, say.
We need the cocktail tables.
No.
Everything's provided in one, right? Except for the glasses.
The tables and chairs,
Yeah.
but we have to provide linen, and I know that, the fabulous people that they're gonna do the centerpieces, right? Have they gotten, are you working with the flowers? and-
Yes, so, they are gonna, they have the centerpieces already, they're gonna bring the flowers. What time is the event open at Carlson Park?
I think we open at 5, but I want all the volunteers here, they've got to be there early.
We can get there as early as noon, I think.
Well, we have to, that's another conversation is who's gonna come help set up.
Yeah.
So I personally think going, if they can lock the barn, which I can verify today, I would go set up at noon and then come back.
Yeah,
Cause if we do, it shouldn't take more, if we have enough families, it shouldn't take more than an hour and a half, 2 hours to get it set up. And then everybody can go home, change clothes, and then come back. That's my thought. I don't know what you guys think.
Yeah.
No worries.
All right.
Work for you guys? Noon, could you drop them off at noon or do you need to give them to Sunday?
Look, drop it off whenever you want.
Okay. So noon at Carlton Farms.
Let me verify for sure that they don't secure the venue, make sure that it's all locked, and then I will send it an email. Does that work okay? That way,
He had a job.
All right.
just in case, if they can, I don't want, somebody's gonna have to be there, so.
Okay, we're gonna,
Sorry, well, you,
we're gonna.
this is go time.
It is go time.
I think that's all I
I
have.
have
Okay.
two questions. So your $500 sponsorship, what do you get to? They should have one. So I'm gonna take one of you one of those. I can't take one, but I will come to you. Okay, because the South River Material doing the pianos even is that same thing.
Yes, I know.
So, and then second question is I want to kind of crowdsource this question here, if you guys would help me out. We can do a tasting party at the store for 6 to 8 people. It's valued at $442. And I often give that to charities, but I also sometimes have done where you could have a group of, say, 20 to 25. That's more like standing room only. The other one, you need some sitting space. So would there be interest in just one of those or both of them? That probably, I'd have to do the math, but that'd probably be valued about $750 to $800 because you have all of the, like, the appetizers and stuff that we provide, plus the winning bidder gets enrolled in our Teamsters Club and gets a clearing once a quarter for the first lower priced one. But for the bigger event, I could do a clearing a month that they would bid. So what do you guys think? Would you just want one of those at the auction? I could maybe do both of them. Do you think there'd be enough interest?
You know, one of the things that often happens is that it bids up really well, offer one.
Yeah,
And if it bids
well, they're
up,
two different things. is what
I know, but maybe even be prepared to do two of the same.
Yeah, I offer that to charities. Sometimes I'll say this is,
Yeah.
one of 2 or 3 that you could offer.
You know, what
Yeah.
you could do, is you could do small ones in the silent auction.
And a bigger one in the live. Okay.
That's a good idea, yeah.
And then if it reaches. You set the price, if it reaches X amount of dollars, then you'll up to.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so let's talk separately about fine, because
Alright.
I know we're running out of time here, but
Sorry.
then really keep at me to get it done, because my mind is consumed with what's going on in the store this weekend. But come Monday or Tuesday, I can get those done for you.
Okay, and then I'm gone next week.
Okay,
I leave on Wednesday and I will not be back until the following week, and then that'll.
Okay,
That's a
good.
good period
so
of time.
Lori and I'll follow up, and I really mean that pester me, don't let me forget.
Laura, so you can give the bag for that.
Thank you. Good.
The bag forms to Lori. All right, that's all I have. I'm sorry.
Linda, do you have anything for international?
All is good.
All right,
We love it.
we will go down, somebody's not here, so Rand, anything on public image?
Well, you and I are gonna work tomorrow on the screen content for the auction, and we've got a beautiful new tent set up coming.
Yeah.
And we're working on distribution of sponsors, so that's good.
Oh, okay. And by the way, we thought, especially if it's raining, never rains, remember, but at Parks and Pigs, maybe even setting our brand new tent up in front of the venue, which actually could be kind of a good spot because, if somebody has to have to get the car to drive home and it's pouring rain, the
Right.
guests could wait under the tent, and
And I just thought of something, I'm gonna have that shipped to your house, because I'm gonna be in San Diego, so, unless you wanna drive all the way out to the studio.
no,
just have auto ship direct
I got
to
the
your house.
TV anyhow, so,
Good.
all right.
That's if it arrives in time, right? We've got to qualify that. So we're placing the order for the tent, I think tomorrow. And we'll just hope that it arrives in time.
All right.
So if the tent gets lost, we know who to blame.
Yeah, but I'll be out camping. Eileen, do you want to introduce our new member?
Oh, yes, I would love to. And you know what would be really great?
Yeah.
If I actually put my glasses on, so I can actually see. So Daniel. Thank you so much for choosing our Rotary out for all of us.
Welcome. All right, I am going to suggest that we do our drawing And I'd like to leave as much time for our presentation today, so. Obviously, we're not gonna do fines. Do we want to do happy bucks or just kind of assume that everybody's pretty happy and?
Well, donate, volunteer to do your happy bucks on your way out.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
I like.
Yeah, I'm sorry it took so long.
All right, so Mr. Sergeant at Arms, you want to do the drawing bucket
Let's
thing?
do the drawing, let's pull the bucket, let's bucket. Careful, bucket, let's bucket.
Bucket.
It sounds like.
No.
Okay, I've got a $5 have to make an announcement, happy bucks, so we're gonna allow that to happen.
Okay, you want me to right now? Okay.
Yeah.
So, this weekend at the store, if you don't know, we're having a big event, we're doing Christmas in October. It goes Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, you can find information online, but basically you get 20% off of different, gift sets that we have in a BOGO on our samples, and then we've got some new products coming in. This is a new company out of Monroe that's doing bagged popcorn that I discovered at the Seattle Mart, so very fun. And I know some of you have loved, this is now like the PG-13 version, some of those shitty things that you've had at the orange thing about.
Yeah.
Yeah, so those are now at the store. I've been a little embarrassed to carry them at the shop, but they are now there. And if you feel like you need to make penance for that, we also carry the holy chocolate from Paul. And we now carry their products called Burnt Sacrifice, which is also his product. It's a great men stocking stuffers. So thank you.
Cool.
We do that.
Yeah.
Anybody can see Debbie in social media with her bag of shit.
Yeah, I put the bag of shit at the Chamber of
So-
Commerce and the whole house busted.
You have a Christmas tree set up at your,
No, because it's Christmas in October, so we still have George the Great Pumpkin that you can guess his weight, and we entered in 3 prize rides. And Christmas really starts after, like in November. I don't like Christmas early, but this is the hell part of it.
I ran one forward.
My ticket is 651.
Oh, missed it by 2.
651.
Hey.
Big money, big money, big money.
Oh. Where did you find that one?
All right.
You like-
Well done. Cool.
All right.
All right.
Well, thank you. All right, that's, you're up.
All right. You gonna read my bio?
Sure, Lance works at Sherwood. All right, thank you.
Okay.
You have to use the keys because we're all plugged in here.
So the direction keys.
Yeah,
All right.
all right.
So we're gonna try to make this work. I have 3 videos embedded in this presentation and I couldn't get it to work last week, but thank you for everything that you shared. I know a lot of you already know a lot about Sherwood. But I do want to share just a little bit because I know we've got some new members. Just a little bit about Sherwood. This is something that we developed internally. Our mission is up there. So if you look at the tree, our name is Sherwood, appropriate that we use a tree, right? The 3 values that are in the roots of that tree, innovation, inclusion, and community, are part of our mission statement. So what we say is those are the core values of Sherwood. And then we went to our staff, and the 4 values that are embedded in that trunk came from our staff and board, which, if you can read them, are compassion, respect, equity, and integrity. The branches of that tree then signify the 4 departments that we've got at Sherwood. We've got administrative services, which helps us provide the services that we actually provide in the community. We've got early support program that serves infants and toddlers births to 3 that have developmental disabilities and delays. And we've got career and community connections, which is our vocational, helping adults with disabilities find jobs, as well as being integrated in their communities. And then our development and partnership arm, Eileen's a part of that, I'm a part of that. That's where we go out in the community and do community outreach and the fundraising that we need as an organization. So the leaves that are on that tree then signify the people that we serve. So it's just kind of a cool visual that we came up with. We've got a good marketing department. Very creative and wanted to share that. So instead of talking anymore, we've got a video that we partnered with Tulalip Tribes. They actually highlighted us last year at their Raising Hands event. That event pays tribute to all the nonprofits that Tulalip Tribes funds, and they raise their hands to all of us nonprofits that are doing the work out in the community. So I'm going to try to get these videos to work, and then we'll see if it comes up.
If it doesn't, we won't.
If you know anybody that has a disability and you know some of the stereotypes that exist in society around people with disabilities, we are here to break those stereotypes. We're here to educate the public. We are here to believe in people's abilities. We are here to help people reach their potential. Sherwood is an organization that provides services to children and adults with disabilities. We've been around for about 65 years, established in 1957. And we've got both early intervention and a vocational program. And what Sherwood is about is making sure that people with disabilities, both children and adults, have every opportunity that every other child or adult has in our community.
In early intervention, we work with children birthed to age 3 that have delays and disabilities. We are supporting our youngest, most vulnerable population, and we are helping them meet the milestones that they need to reach before they enter into the school systems. We have speech therapists, physical therapists, occupational therapists, infant mental health counselor, family resource coordinators. Any need that a child may have, our team can provide that for families.
As soon as a child has been identified with a developmental disability or a delay, the earlier that you can get to that child, the better. While the brain is developing, and so we intervene as soon as we possibly can with the child. So every child gets individualized services.
We're working directly in the home with the parents involved and try and give them additional tools to support their child in the home during daily routines and activities. Working with these families at a time where they really have a lot of emotion. And they sit back and they say, wow, we did this. I did this. I'm excited about the next steps. I'm not scared anymore. All children deserve a fair start. And children born with disabilities and delays deserve to have the same success as their peers.
When people come to Sherwood, we look at their abilities, not their disabilities. Their abilities are what's going to help them be as independent as they possibly can in their communities.
Nikki helps with the materials that come in from the community libraries. She has that can-do attitude and she just puts it forward and she's positive and happy. She is a very important part of the whole team.
I got more independent while I was doing my job. Been here almost 3 months and I'm not planning on leaving here, not anytime soon.
She wants to get the job done. She knows what she needs to do and she knows when to ask questions and she does really well at that.
We're oftentimes the first person that says to a family, we believe your son or daughter can work. So it's that belief, I think, here at Sherwood that really makes the difference.
I was so excited and happy because Dad got my first paycheck, help my family with bills and groceries and everything.
If we did not know, Nikki's abilities, then we wouldn't have the opportunity to see how successful she is. I feel that, everyone should have that opportunity. And Sherwood makes that possible. At Sherwood, we believe in abilities. Whatever those abilities are, we want to walk beside individuals, families, children, and provide the support that they need.
You know, whenever I think about what might be best for a person with a disability, I think what might be best for you or I, right? There should be no difference. If I want to be included in my community, I should be able to be included in my community. If I want to go to work and contribute, I should be able to go to work and contribute. So if we have that same belief, this world is going to be a better place, our communities are going to be more inclusive, and everyone is going to benefit. So the video, of course, you can take several takes and they put it all together into a nice polished piece like that. So Layla did that for us free of charge and actually highlighted us at last year's Raising Hands. So we've changed the name of the programs now, so that was time limited. So I wanted to at least get one more good use out of it. We served over 1,000 lives last year, served over 1,000 people, 1,073 to be exact. Children and adults receive services. So the impact that we've got on people's lives, and that as we continue to grow in this community in Snohomish County, the need here is going to grow as well. And we provide vocational services up into Skagit Island and San Juan counties as well. So just a quick comment about why I do this work. Lance Jr. is in that top picture. Many of you that have been around for a while and know me know my personal story about why I do this work. Lance Jr. passed away 15 years ago at the age of 24, but he had significant disabilities as a result of a near drowning accident. And Gregory is the bottom picture. He's my stepson. It's the reason, his mom's the reason I live in Lake Stevens and are a part of this club and found my way to Sherwood. Unfortunately, he passed away 5 years ago as well at the age of 25. So we've gone through this family experience as well as that heartbreak, but it really drives my wife and I to do the work that we do for people with disabilities in the community. So talked a little bit about the services that we provide, but in addition to that, we've been around 65 years. We should know a thing or two about the needs of children and adults with disabilities. We do a lot of advocating with our state and federal legislature for services and supports for people with disabilities. You can see Sherwood's branded tent at that middle picture on the bottom. So I understand what it takes, and those things are heavy. So we do advocacy at the local, state, and federal level. We do presentations like this for community education and support. Yes, we promote Sherwood in the community, but I think even more importantly, we promote the conversation that we're going to have next, and that is society's view of people with disabilities. We really want to impact the way people are accepted in local communities and challenge some of the stereotypes that people have around people with disabilities. We're connected to our communities and have community involvement. We think that's very important. Eileen and I are sitting here as members of this Rotary Club. I think we're members of 9 chambers throughout the counties that we currently serve. So we try to be really involved in our communities as well. So what I really wanted to talk about today is terminology that we use. And I want to challenge you to not think about political correctness when I go through this. This isn't about political correctness. This is really about being respectful to people with disabilities. I think about 5 years ago, I did a presentation to this club around person-first language, recognizing the person before their disability, because everyone that has a disability is a person first. Neurodiversity is a new concept of society looking at people with disabilities. We all have diversity. I've got gray hair. I've got, my dentist is in the room, front tooth that may be a little discolored from trauma earlier in life. We all have differences. And I challenge you to think about people with disabilities having those same differences in diversity. One of the things that I say a lot around, if you've heard any of the work around autism and autism spectrum, I think every one of us in this room is on that spectrum somewhere. And if you think about people in that way, we are more alike than different. So I'm not going to read the words that are up there, but it is a concept to think a little bit differently about people with disabilities. We're all diverse. We all bring different things to the table. We all have different strengths. So think about that when you see a person with a disability. So this is a graphic that I really like because it was society's view of people with disabilities in the past. In our state, we built 6 institutions for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities in the late 1800s, early 1900s. And our state described these institutions for the defective youth with loathsome diseases. That is the terminology that we use to describe people with disabilities in our state. We built these institutions out in the country, away from society. And at the peak, we had over 4,000 people in our state living in those 6 institutions. So the medical model of disability is really the old way of looking at people with disabilities, that the person has the problem. And what are we going to do as a society to address those problems? That there's something wrong with the person. So a new way of thinking about this is the social model of disability, which says, yes, a person has disabilities. Yes, they may have barriers, but really the barriers that people with disabilities face are what we put on them as society, whether it's physical barriers like stairs for a person in a wheelchair, or attitudinal barriers about how we view people with disabilities. So I think we really like this at Sherwood, and it's caught on with a lot of the people with disabilities themselves, to take a look at what we can do in society to be more welcoming. How many of you have heard universal design in architecture and housing? You can make accommodations that benefit everyone if you use universal design in remodeling or building a home. An example that I like to share is the curb cuts that we put in for accessibility for people in wheelchairs also help moms that have babies in strollers, right? So if you think about society in more broad terms, and what we can do to remove some of those barriers, people with disabilities are going to be much less isolated and much less stigmatized. So I'm going to try to show a video next. And how do I get to this? Do I have to get out of the presentation?
Why don't you just try clicking on it and see if it just comes up?
Okay.
And if it doesn't, we've got to fall back.
Most people have no clue that in 2023,
Sorry, I
the best
couldn't
way to make
do it
money on
without.
Amazon is
It
not
didn't-
with
yeah.
physical products.
According to the medical model of disability, the word disabled means less able. Less able to achieve your potential, less able to have meaningful relationships, less able to play an active part in the world around you, and that this is just your bad luck. This outdated view of the world puts the responsibility of overcoming disabling barriers on the person with an impairment. But this idea is changing. The more modern social model of disability says that a person doesn't have a disability, that they are disabled. They're disabled by society. It is the attitudes and physical barriers imposed on them by society that prevents them from achieving their potential. The social model was developed by disabled people and their allies to help them take action against discrimination and to empower people to find solutions, remove barriers, and campaign together for equality and human rights. They showed how people with lots of different impairments face many of the same problems. These disabling barriers include prejudiced opinions and attitudes, restricted access, and people being systematically excluded. The social model looks for the ways that society can be planned and organised in order to provide accessibility, independence, and opportunity in a way that enables people rather than disables them. What we learn from the social model of disability is that disability is a social construct created by social barriers, barriers which can be eliminated. We learn that it is the responsibility of government, public spaces, businesses, and individual people to make the changes, to increase the access and build a more equal society where everyone has the opportunity to reach their full potential.
So any thoughts after
Imagine a company made up
hold
of
on.
only
Now how do I
autistic
get
people.
back out?
When the business was created,
Back to
they designed it exactly as they wanted it. Their conversations were to the point.
And then back to the presentation. Any thoughts after watching that video?
I think sometimes we don't realize what the barriers are so that we can correct them. So we need to be informed of what's needed.
And that can be physical or attitudinal, where you might be able to see them or understand them or not. All right. Anyone else? Okay. I get asked to do a lot of trainings about how to work with people with disability. And what I love to do, of course, I'll accept any opportunity to speak. But usually I bring a handout that says this. And Bob's Corn's a good example. We partnered with them for an Abilities Day event the last 5 years, and they invited me to come out for their staff before we did this Abilities Day to say, you know, how can you help? How can we work better with people with disabilities? And I handed out this handout and I said, there you go, there's your training. And then, of course, we talked about, you know, if a person has sensory issues, you might want to have a quiet place where they can go. You know, don't necessarily take the initiative and try to help a person without them asking for help, because we want to encourage people to be as independent as they possibly can. So I want to show one more video. So we'll do this transition one more time and see if it works. That kind of flips society's view around how we view people with disabilities. So let's watch this and then we'll see if there's any reactions after that.
Sophia, I love it.
I don't believe you.
Hey, I think I like the outline of the lip.
Imagine a town full of physically impaired people, all wheelchair users. They run everything. There aren't any able-bodied people, so naturally, when they built the town, the community decided it was pointless to have ceilings 10 foot high and doors 7 foot high. So the ceilings were built at 7 foot, and the doors at 5 foot. In every way, they designed the place the way they wanted it. One day, a few able-bodied people come to stay. One of the first things they notice is the height of the doors. The reason they notice is because they keep hitting their heads. They come to stand out by the bruises they carry on their foreheads. Soon doctors, psychiatrists, and social workers all become involved. Committees are formed. Many people are worried about what becomes known as the problem of the able-bodied. Throughout the town, there is a growth of real concern. Especially tough helmets are handed out free to the able-bodied to be worn at all times. Braces are designed which give support and relief, while keeping the able-bodied wearer bent to normal height. Various groups of compassionate wheelchair users get together and form registered charities. Every quarter they have a collection day. Upturned helmets are left in pubs and shops for people to drop their small change into. There is talk of founding special homes. But then one day, it dawns on the able-bodied, there's nothing actually wrong with them, just that society excludes them.
Great. So, you know, if you just flip it.
That's your background.
Yeah. You know, if you just flip it around, I mean, that's exactly what we've done for people with disabilities, right? We have designed everything in our society around the majority of the population that don't have disabilities. And so it really illustrates those barriers. Any thoughts after watching that video?
Question, Liz. So both of those videos were, sound like they were British.
Yeah.
Is there more acceptance or inclusiveness in Britain than here? Or
A lot of
where's that stem from?
a lot of the accepting and inclusive ideas, honestly, historically, have come from Britain and the UK. Even though they don't have what we have here in the United States called the ADA that really mandates accessibility and excludes discrimination. They don't have many of those laws, and if any of you have traveled to Europe, you'll know that it's not very accessible in many places as well. But a lot of the new thinking that comes around perspectives start in Europe and then they catch on here in the United States. I've seen that over my 25-year career and working in this field. It is interesting. So that's basically what I wanted to share. I've got a few more slides. One of them was just if you had any questions about the services that we provide or anything that we've talked about, but really consider how you view people with disabilities. And let me know if you're interested, me or Eileen know, if you're interested in learning more about Sherwood. We'd be happy to sit down over coffee, lunch, whatever, and just tell you a little bit more. We've got opportunities for people to be involved with Sherwood. Volunteer opportunities are a little limited because we provide, we've got HIPAA information and all kinds of things that we need to protect in that way. But just thank you, the Rotary Club, for being such a great partner with us over the past 10 years, at least since I've joined. Any questions you guys have about anything that was presented? Chris?
We've been looking to hire a part-time cleaner for Creator Zone, and I was just thinking about it, maybe to talk with you guys about hiring. I'm sure we'll, especially some local. Would I talk with you about that?
Sure, we can make that connection and then I can hand it off to people that can talk to you directly. Anthony has done the same thing. Christine's done the same thing. So really appreciate the support.
Pretty amazing, Lance. The beautiful presentation and just really, it's great. It's just changing what we know, and it's so important. So well done.
I went to school, you know, we had special education started in Washington State in 1972. And if you think about that, that isn't that long ago. But I went to school during that time and I didn't have any exposure to people with disabilities because even though special ed programs existed, they were in the room down the hallway or in the portable or in the furnace room. Right, so they weren't integrated in school like they are today, and I think that's one of the biggest things that is starting to change society's perception is the inclusive education that we have in our schools today. So thank you. All right, Chris.
I always noticed, and I mean, 10 years ago, but it's very from school. I think it's really important to educate people about how you as an individual can deal with people with disabilities, but I always have been concerned about how do you train staff, like train others to create that inclusive environment? Would it be just like partnering with organizations like Sherwood to come in and train your staff? Or is there like good programs to do that? Because I think that's the biggest thing is like, even if you as a manager hiring have that compassion, have learned about it and want to, you know, support but then you don't have others that make them feel welcomed or supported, it could.
I was gonna share even the story that you shared with me this morning.
So we have one person who supported employment at our store. And he started over a year ago, because yesterday the staff meeting gave out grand anniversary things. We do not have this trainer staff. Everybody just accepted him naturally. And he is the most positive person who comes in every morning. He comes into my office, has to say hello to me, say hello to Grace, tell me what color shirt he's wearing. And then we have to say, we're wearing the same color as him. And then he came to his first staff meeting yesterday and he talked about coming to this meeting for months. Like, he was so excited to do it. And we have never had an instance of, an employee, having a run-in. If we have heard, well, we're going to do it, should we address it right away?
I think if you take the step, and Anthony, maybe you can share as well, to hire a person, you bring them into your culture. And I think many of us were afraid to approach people with disabilities in the past, right? But if you're working directly with them, they're gonna tell you, and they're gonna develop relationships, and it's gonna happen naturally, like Christine said. Gary?
I can go along with what Lance just said. Until I had a grandson with Down syndrome, I wasn't sure how to approach people with disabilities. And that has made a major change, especially when I went on Sherwood's board and started learning more and more about people with disabilities. And now it's a lot easier to go up and just have a conversation and enjoy their company, because, you know, all they want is the same thing that we do, attention. Can I make one announcement? That has nothing to do with this? Another question, does anybody know what's happening tomorrow night?
Trader's Zone party,
Right, what time is it?
7.
And what are they going to do tomorrow night?
Party.
And are they going to dress up?
If you want to, optional.
And what are you going to do?
I'm going to party dressed up.
Oh, my friend. Well, I'll be at Wrestling Court at the Hocus Pocus Halloween.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I'll just walk across. the
And I
street.
think that starts
And
a
I-
little bit.
There you go.
Right? I think that starts a little bit earlier.
At 5:30.
Party.
Yes.
Oh, party hopping.
Brett, what are you dressing up as? I mean,
Cowboy. Girl.
speed determined, that's a TBD.
Anyway, don't forget it tomorrow night. It's a fundraiser. Should be a lot of fun.
And also, we, you have a kiddo party too, it's in the afternoon, right?
Well, before it's a family party, so you can come and bring your whole family with kids, it's crafts and treats, it's a free daytime event. We have 6 craft stations, we have a really popular food truck, the Mama something, they're always down at the farmer's market, they always sell out everything, really good, but it's gonna be super fun.
Yeah.
We have a Rotary member posted out front our door the entire day for the event, named Brett. Yeah.
That guy gets around. Well, I like the little advice that early in your presentation, wasn't it like people? How do you train somebody to?
How do you treat them?
Yeah.
Like person.
Like person, like what?
Like a person.
Like person. Like person, like person, like person, like person, like person. All right, persons. Meeting adjourned.
I can't find any.
Oh, well, I do. That's fine.
Oh.
They're not